Hey everyone, me Kevin here with another stimulus update. This is actually really exciting. I mean, honestly, the stimulus checks are coming for many people way faster than we would have originally expected. Now, right now, it looks like a lot of folks are still on the waiting phase. So if you're part of like the 85% of people who are still waiting, don't feel bad if you hear that other people already see a pending deposit. I ran a poll just to sort of get an idea as to where everybody is sitting. I ran a poll on Twitter yesterday, which you're welcome to follow me on Twitter at RealMeetKevin. But take a look at this. So if you haven't gotten your check yet, don't feel bad. Take a look at this here. Who's already gotten their stimulus check? And you can see 13% says they got it. Or they say they got it. And almost 87% of people said not yet. I also ran a similar poll on Instagram just to sort of see, and this is all just, within the last 24 hours here. In the Instagram result, it came in, here you go, for Instagram. So if you haven't gotten your check yet, don't feel bad. It looks like most people have not gotten their check yet. However, if you have gotten your check, well, congratulations. There's a chance you might not be here unless you're curious about some other questions like unemployment, which we're going to address a little bit about as well. But I want to mention that Axios just reported about 15 minutes ago that the IRS Get My Payment portal is supposedly now working. Not sure. It was down yesterday. We were getting a lot of payment status not available. However, Axios, I respect them as a publication. Shout out to Axios. And they have mentioned that the IRS Get My Payment portal is now working. So hopefully that works for you. A lot of talk from individuals following the channel that they have pending deposits showing that their deposit will clear on the 17th, some saying the 19th. This is good as well. If you're not familiar yet with the IRS Get My Payment portal, you might consider going, just type this in the Google, IRS Get My Payment. Make sure you go to the .gov address and you can check the status of your payment or add your banking information. Now, keep in mind, you cannot change your banking information. So once your banking information is in there once, that's where it's going to go. If your banking info has changed, then your payment will get rejected and then they will mail it to you, which will obviously take longer. Keep in mind, when you file your taxes, there is a section on your tax return that asks you for direct deposit info. A lot of people who owe taxes just don't fill that out because they're like, I don't need to fill it out. in which case, you're probably going to want to either use the Get My Payment portal to add your banking info. And if you can't use that, then you would have to wait for a check. Now, last year, thanks to me in 2018 closing a money-losing business and having a big negative on my tax return, I was eligible for the very first stimulus check. And I used the Get My Payment portal because I also did not put my banking information on my tax returns, and it worked. So for me, on the very first stimulus check, that worked. So if you are in that situation, the system does work. At least in my case, it worked out. I will not be getting the next stimulus check. Anyway. So, and just in case some people were wondering, I was getting messages like, wait, are you getting? Anyway, so then there are still a lot of questions. I just want to reiterate this about the income and the time frame. So I'm going to keep this portion short because I really want to talk about the update on unemployment. If you made more money in 2020 and you have not filed yet and you get paid a stimulus check, and even though you're not supposed to qualify in 2020, but they're using your 2019 tax return, you get to keep the money. You do not have to pay it back. Just want extra clarity on that. Now, the IRS has provided a little bit of information. Lauren, thank you for shouting out here that the portal is working. You just used it. Congratulations to everybody who needs to use it. That is awesome. Thank you, Lauren, for mentioning that. Now, the IRS has provided guidance on the $10,200 of, some guidance for the tax-free $10,200 of unemployment pay. This is good news. We finally have some insight on this. So the IRS had the following to say. The IRS mentioned that for those who have received unemployment benefits last year and have already filed their 2020 tax return, they say, please do not file an amended return at this time. So they're asking you to please wait. Do not file an amended return. The reason they don't want you to file an amended return is anytime you do an amended return, you go from like automated processing to manual processing. And the IRS is way behind on doing manual reviews. So they are definitely asking that if you have already filed your 2020 and you've had unemployment benefits in 2020, please don't file an amended. Wait for additional guidance. Now, for those who haven't yet filed, The IRS is planning to release a new worksheet that you can attach to your tax return to be able to claim your $10,200 of tax-free income, to be able to offset $10,200 worth of income. It's not a credit. It's removing $10,200 of unemployment income. So what does that mean? If you have not filed 2020 yet and you had unemployment pay in 2020, you probably want to wait for that worksheet to come out. So wait. If you've already filed your 2020, also wait because they're telling you not to file an amended. So very, very important. If you are on, when should they send SSDI? My guess is SSDI, Railroad Retirement, VA, Supplemental Security. My guess is those are probably going to process along the time of your next regular installment payment. So hopefully within the next week, you get your release directly. I don't know if they're trying to process those separately or if they're trying to lump those together, but I would say by the end of this upcoming week, that was sort of the projected time frame we've got for everybody anyway, for people who have 2019, 2020 tax returns, and of course the non-filers who are already in the system. And if you are a non-filer, you do not have to file a tax return and you're potentially not in the system, use the Get My Payment portal and see if you can add your information, add your children through the IRS Get My Payment portal. Remember, just Google IRS Get My Payment. Make sure you go to the IRS official website. All right, so let's see here. Then we have, very important. They're asking us not to file amended returns because it just delays things, which, speaking of delays, the Washington Post just reported that there are 6.7 million returns that have not yet been processed, and that's more than 3 times the number of returns that have not been processed year over year, which basically means a lot of people are in limbo right now waiting for their freaking returns to get processed, which is also really annoying because we're in a pandemic and people need the money. IRS. But anyway, what the IRS is, what their excuse is basically the many more returns from people who are trying to claim the employee retention credits, child tax credits, past stimulus credits. All of these are being funneled into this errors processing system, which is usually used for identifying fraud. And pretty much anybody now who is trying to claim their prior tax refund or their prior stimulus check because maybe they didn't get the initial $1,200 or they had a child or they didn't get the $600 and they're trying to claim that for themselves, their children, or their dependents. They're all getting put in the same delay system, which is very, very frustrating, obviously. But yeah, the IRS is like, please do not send us more amended returns. We realize this is a problem. Paper checks. Yeah, so my understanding is the paper checks should start rolling off sometime next week. My guess is, with how slow the USPS is, I personally would not expect, and who knows, maybe it'll go faster. Like, I already saw somebody comment that they already got their TurboTax return, which is like their card, their stimulus check on their card, which is freaking awesome. It's going way faster this time, right? But my expectation is I probably wouldn't plan on seeing a paper check until like the 29th to April 2nd. Like, that week is when I would really start being a little bit more paying attention to my mail. Now, just be careful. Maybe the mail will go out faster this time. Who knows? Everything's happening faster right now, which is very nice. It's the 3rd time we've been through this. You'd think it could go fast. But do keep in mind to really pay attention to the spam mail you're getting, because if you all, let's say you didn't get a debit card before, and now all of a sudden you get a debit card, it's going to look like junk mail. It's crazy. All right. It is getting annoying, to get your tax return. Absolutely. Congratulations, Jay Biglow, for receiving your check. I claimed my girlfriend who is on SSI and her grandchild who is 2. So I have 2 dependents. Will I get stimulus for them? As long as you qualify, the answer is yes. So in this scenario, as long as you qualify income-wise, you should get 3 stimulus checks. Now, you are technically a single filer, I believe. You're filing single. In which case you would have to make less than the $75,000. And of course, you could phase up to about that $80K. My portfolio will grow March 7th. Yeah, a lot of money appears to potentially be going into Bitcoin. This is true. If you're talking about that, or you're talking about the market. You should wait and ask the link to CPI. Oh, yes. Link your stimulus check to inflation. My gosh. I don't know. I made a good video breaking down inflation yesterday in the 2 scenarios. I highly encourage you watch that. The coming Great Depression or Roaring 20s, it's all about inflation. Watch that. If you're concerned about inflation, watch that video. My mother-in-law's 2019 just came in with my 2 kids, $1,400. Congratulations. That's awesome. Good. March 17th for this. Also, there's another little trick if you're trying to get information, especially on this unemployment topic. Oh yeah, and I wanted to show this too. Look, we got the sweater in, right? Rocket to the moon. those are in the little merch shelf down below. But I wanted to mention some folks are saying that they are able to look at their IRS tax transcripts, and some people are saying they're already seeing notes about potential refunds for the taxes that they would have owed on that $10,200 of unemployment pay. And so you can Google IRS get my transcript. That's different from IRS get my payment. IRS get my transcript. And you can potentially log in there, make a portal, and see at the bottom some potential dates and refund amounts. Last time around, we did this with the $600 checks. Some people said it worked. Some people said it didn't work. So it might be a little bit of a crapshoot there, but yeah. Okay, let's see here. How often should we check to see if it has deposited? You know, it's hard to say because, like, I don't want to make you neurotic to where you're checking all the time, right? I probably would just recommend, check maybe twice a day when you wake up and you go to sleep. It's going to be pending at first anyway, so you're going to be waiting an extra day anyway from when you see it initially show up. So I don't think that catching it an hour sooner is going to make any difference because you're waiting anyway on that pending. But I know the Get My Payment portal only updates every 24 hours. So if you're using Get My Payment, only use that system once per 24 hours. They never told us what time that resets, but I would just get into a habit of, if you're checking Get My Payment, just every time you wake up, check the Get My Payment portal. That's the way I would do that. As far as your bank account, there's no clarity there. The course coupon code, I noticed this. Some folks asking for an extension on the course. I'll have to look into that. Right now, the coupon does expire tomorrow, and it's scheduled to expire tomorrow on the 15th. I would say maybe if you have a special circumstance, maybe email me, but I don't also want to bury Kathy with emails. So, but yeah, in case you're wondering what we're talking about, that is a reference to the 38% off coupon code that technically expires tomorrow for the programs on Building Your Wealth, linked down below. Okay, not sure if do you think we'll do? I think the greatest chance we have of sort of continued assistance coming from the government is going to be making the child tax credit permanent. The child tax credit is honestly, it's a form of universal basic income. Let me share that for 1 second here. Here's some coffee. So the child tax credit, by increasing the child tax credit from $2,000 to $3,000 and $3,600 for kids under 6, and then issuing it monthly, it's way better than a tax credit that people get in a lump sum at the end of the year, in my opinion, because when we get a lump sum payment at the end of the year, we're very likely to spend that on bills we've accrued, on credit card debt from the holidays. It's a problem. But if there is a monthly distribution, which is it's a form of universal basic income, I do think that will help substantially regarding poverty. Now, there are obviously a lot of debates about universal basic income, but from a poverty perspective, it's not just a matter of child poverty, which is how the Biden administration is pitching this child tax credit. Which, look, don't get me wrong, cutting child poverty. I mean, child poverty should be zero. Honestly, poverty in our entire country should be zero. But my expectation is, in terms of future stimulus, it would probably be in the way of making some kind of monthly child tax credit permanent. No, nothing about a $15,000 homebuyer tax credit. That was really, I hate to say it right now, I think more of a campaign suggestion, kind of like the $200 for Social Security, that $200 boost Social Security. Unfortunately. So we haven't actually seen those items yet, which is very disappointing, I know. Sorry about that. The income limits are generally based on your adjusted gross income, your AGI. Your status was available. Good. What about the California stimulus? Yeah, the California stimulus, if you make under $30,000 a year, you're probably going to be eligible for that California stimulus. Okay, what else here? It says enter the negative amount. Venzo, what is your question regarding this negative amount? I filed my taxes, made over the limit, but I checked the website and they said I was eligible. Maybe I lucked out. It depends. Did your income go up in 2020? And maybe they went off your 2019, because there is a funny overlap where, like, for example, let's say I filed my taxes on Monday and they didn't actually process my 2020 yet, and they went off my 2019 income. And let's say my 2019 income would have qualified, maybe then you could have gotten the stimulus check that way, right? Yours is set to deposit on the 17th. Awesome. Hey there, Kevin. I'm a product designer at Robinhood, and recently Apple would love to help with any merch ideas. Product designer. So do you also do coding? Hit me up, man. Like, seriously, hit me up. Like, I worked for Robinhood. Put that in your title and email me, kevin@meetkevin.com. That's awesome. I'm going to get like 1 million of those now. Please be you. Anyway, so my niece is 19, had a child in 2020, hasn't worked in 3 years. How could she get the stimulus checks and also the child tax credits? Right. So, yeah, what you're asking is basically, how can somebody get a stimulus check who isn't required to file taxes because they don't have income? You basically have to file your taxes. You look up, you can Google this, IRS recovery rebate. The IRS recovery rebate is just another name. Honestly, why they use a different name, I don't know, stupid. But it's the IRS recovery rebate is the same thing as a stimulus check. And so when you file your 2020 tax return, you can follow the instructions for the recovery rebate, and you could request your $1,200 for yourself, $600 for dependents from round one, and the $600 for each person from the last round here of 2020. And then when you file 2021, you'll be able to get this stimulus check as well. So you would have to, kind of go out of your way there. Do I need a coder? Maybe. Hit me up if you're a coder. So, Kevin, rent is paid off. Should I spend my stimulus on crypto or stocks? Oh, man. I personally, and obviously not financial advice here, but I have about 4% of my accounts in Bitcoin. Oh, I use BlockFi. They pay some pretty sweet interest over there. You can go to metkevin.com/BF. And they'll give you up to $250 for free if you sign up. But yeah, I mean, they pay some really ridiculous amounts of interest on your savings and the crypto that you have on deposit with them, which could be just cash savings, which they convert to stablecoin or cryptos. But I do know that a lot of the crypto companies, they get some big old boosts of deposits when the stimulus comes through. But yeah, I mean, check it out, metkevin.com/BF. It's BlockFi. If you use that referral to sign up, they'll give you up to $250, and it just goes based off how much you deposit in terms of how much you get. It's pretty linear. Well, actually, I don't think it's linear, but it's broken out. But is it true that since Congress used reconciliation for the stimulus, they can't use it for another bill? No, that is incorrect. So the reconciliation process can be used up to 9 times in the next couple years, and that's because they can pass a 2021, 2022, and 2023 budget. And they can break these budgets into 3 different parts. So they have up to 9 times. Why is the IRS denying delays with the Fed refunds? I got my state return back. No, I mean, the Washington Post nailed them on this. There's some big freaking delays right now. Big delays. And it is unfortunate. My percent for being single is higher to begin with. I don't have kids to be responsible. Yet those who have kids without the regard of me. I'm not sure your question there, Liz. Volatility in the way. I mean, I'm not going to speculate on commodities this week. My gosh. Okay, so good questions here. Let's see. Any other questions that anybody has? I filed 2020 last week and they accepted, but not processed. Will I not get the stimulus? Well, look, if they're not going to go off your 2020, they will use your 2019. So if you qualified in 2019, you should get the stimulus. If you're in this limbo of accepted but not processed yet, it's unclear. In terms of what they use for the moment of determining whether or not you're eligible, if they have to be processed versus accepted. I do want to also mention garnishments. So a little loophole, unfortunately, that fell through the cracks here with the budget reconciliation plan is because they used budget reconciliation, technically stimulus checks can be prevented from being garnished by state institutions, federal institutions, banks, and I believe banks. I have to double check banks and child support. Those can be prevented from garnishment. However, private debtors, private corporations or businesses or lenders that you owe money to, which in theory could be banks as well. That's why I got to double check the bank ones. There are private lenders who could potentially garnish your stimulus check this round. And unfortunately, that fell through the cracks of budget recon. So that is an issue. So just be aware of that. They will give you the stimulus with your tax refund if you file. Okay, I think you all are talking amongst each other. I filed my 2019 by mail 2 months ago, and they still don't show it. Yeah, filing by mail is the very most slow. That's a weird sentence I constructed. The slowest way to do it. And the IRS is so far behind that does not surprise me that it's been 2 months and it still doesn't show. And unfortunately, at this point, I would just recommend waiting. I wouldn't recommend like doubling up your filing. If you have debt with an interest rate of higher than 4%, use the check to lower that debt, please. That says, oh, you know. All right, Kevin, I claimed my parents in 2019, but not in 2020. How could they get the stimulus check? Well, it all comes down to how you file your 2020 tax return. So if you filed your 2020 tax return not including them, then obviously you're not going to get the check for them. If they file their own tax return, then they should get the check. I'm behind for my tax returns from 2017. Do I still get the payments? No, they're not going to use 2017 or 2018 tax returns. So you will have to file to catch up unless there's a reason you'd be eligible as a non-filer. NFTs I'm nervous about. Student loan forgiveness will be untaxed for the next 5 years, but there is actually no student loan forgiveness yet. So they've just planted the seeds for that. I believe the unemployment goes up for married couples, the $10,200. I mean, that would be logical, but I actually have not verified that. So I could try to do a quick search for married. I would imagine it'd be doubled. I don't see why it would be. Yeah, okay, actually, yeah. I mean, even just a quick little Google here. It looks like, we'll look at it together here just to verify. And this is logical, so this makes sense. COVID bill waives up to taxes of $20,400 of unemployment benefits for married couples. Good. Saturday, the Senate passed a version. Okay, I mean, this is old news at this point. If individuals in a married couple who file taxes jointly received unemployment insurance benefits in 2020, each will see taxes waived on the first $10,000, nice typo, CNBC, $10,200 of that income for a total of $20,400, as long as their combined adjusted gross income is less than $150K. Okay, good. Good. Well, that adds some clarity there. I'm on disability, but just checked my payment status, and it says no info or not eligible. I received the first two. Should I be concerned? No, I wouldn't be concerned. Look, if you got the first two, I would just give it a week, and I have a feeling you'll get taken care of. Hopefully, knock on wood. But I wouldn't be nervous about that. It's so early, especially as a non-filer. I think non-filers are probably going to be more of a next week event, my suspicion. So, okay, $10,200 per social security number. Thank you for that. Will they backdate it? I'm not sure what you mean with backdate, Brian. Do you have maybe if you could clarify that question? Backdate what? Yes, all based on adjusted gross income. The $300 boost unemployment, the same as the PEUC. There are so many different programs, right? PEUC, the PUA, and then you've even got like the $100 boost for the mixed status workers who are W-2 and who are potentially partially self-employed. All of these programs are getting extended. Everything is getting extended through September 6th, which is really good. It's not through the end of September like we originally thought, but yes, through September 6th. Exactly. If you're on retirement, it should come automatically. And again, my suspicion is it would come more towards the middle to the end of next week rather than as early as some of these other folks are receiving them. PPP loans, is it only forgiven if 60% goes to pay employees? We started our business in 2019 and we don't pay ourselves yet. Sole prop business with Schedule C. Yeah, I would apply and talk to one of the representatives for this because the way they're looking at Schedule Cs is they can take either your gross income or your net income and then basically impute a payroll for you. When you are a Schedule C, though, you don't have a W-2 for yourself, so sometimes it can be a little bit more complicated to prove that you actually paid yourself. An easy way to solve this, in my opinion, is, you create a separate bank account and you put the PPP money in there. So say you got 40 grand in PPP money. You put it in a separate bank account, and then every month you just transfer over your pay. So this way, without filing a corporation, you're showing an easier paper trail. But I would verify that with your lender, of course. Okay, my unemployment expires tomorrow and I am on extension. Do I wait or have to reply? You should be able to just continue filing your weekly claims, and I don't think you're going to have to reapply from zero. I would expect more guidance, certainly starting tomorrow, given that that's when the expiration is. But my expectation is states will attempt to keep everything rolling without any kind of delay. That's what they did the last time, and they did it very smoothly. We thought we were going to lose a week, and they were capable of not skipping a beat last time. So I think they'll be able to not skip a beat this time. Lots of Bitcoin scams. Yep, no kidding. I don't okay. Likely is it that collectors will garnish? I think that it is very likely that private debt collectors will try to garnish the stimulus check. So for example, and I'm not advising this, I'm just thinking about how I would feel if I owed somebody, like if I was in collections on something, on some private debt, maybe some medical debt or a credit card or something like that, wherever I got my stimulus check, I'd be emptying that account real fast, like just my point of view. But the garnishments can go pretty fast. So you're kind of a race against the clock there. And obviously you should do whatever you can to negotiate your debts so that way you can actually get these out of your life, because at some point you got to deal with these debts too, right? Negotiating is a good opportunity. Obviously you lose leverage if they're able to just take it, right? So my friend on SSI received her payment on Saturday. Oh, well, that's actually really good. That's much faster than I expected. So that's very, very good. Filed my 2019 by mail, not showing it. Right. We touched on that already. But yeah, paper it's going to be a little bit of a wait if you filed your 2020 by mail. But you filed your 2020 last week. Will that mess things up? No, I don't think so. I think they'll look at those individually. I think you're okay with that. So do you have to have a judgment first before they're allowed to garnish? Very good question. I do not know the answer to that. It depends, because, I don't know. That's a really good question. Maybe somebody else has an answer to that, because I don't know. Like, you could get sent to collections but not get sued, because a judgment refers to the legal system. But you could be in collections via contract, yet not technically have a judgment against you yet, which is also why collections can't garnish your wages, whereas judgments can. So that's a really good question. I don't know the answer to that. So a deep dive on the SLR. Okay, I could consider that. Very, very complicated subject. Definitely not one to cover here. Am I eligible for the child tax credit monthly payment if I claimed my girlfriend's grandchildren on my taxes? Yeah, I mean, if they are your dependents, which they are, the answer would be yes. And when that portal comes out, as long as you are within the income qualifications and you qualify otherwise with social and income, then I would say when the portal comes out in June, which is when the expectation is the portal comes out, you should add their social security numbers to the portal at that point to collect that. Yes, they have to have court order judgment. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for saying that down in the shed, because that makes sense. Because again, collections can't garnish your wages, like I said. So it makes sense that in order to garnish a stimulus check, you'd have to have a judgment. That makes sense. So thank you for that. Do you know why they only sent partial if you have no garnishments? Are they going to correct this issue? Are you saying you got a partial stimulus check? That would be odd if you got a partial. It's possible that they think you're hitting phase outs. So there could be an error within the way the filing was done. But I would definitely double check with either your CPA, or if you did them yourself, or through a tax preparing service, contact them or review your documents. Just bought Psychology, Stocks and Psychology of Money, a lot more content than I expected. Well, welcome. And we're still adding content. And that's one of the fun things about the courses, is I just keep adding content to them over time. So we kind of grow together. And you obviously get the new content for free. Does anyone know if Canadians are still receiving the 2K check? I honestly have not been following the Canadian stimulus market. I have collections falling off my credit report next month. Should I worry? No, I think that sounds good. I think that's great. But honestly, things that are like 7 years, almost 7 years out, they tend to have a very minor impact on your credit score anyway. Recency matters so heavily in credit. The most recent things matter the most. Paid tax last year, but haven't gotten second stimulus check for $600, $1,400 yet. I called them and they said last year was shut down and my file was not updated. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 2020 and 2021 tax return years here, right? So have you filed? You said you paid your tax last year, but did you file your 20? I mean, that could have been your 2019 tax return, right? Because when you file your taxes and you're paying for the year before. So have you filed your 2020 yet? Because your 2020 is going to make sure you get that $600. And then the $1,400, we're just getting started with that. I received unemployment in 2020, already filed taxes before they said it would be non-taxable. Right. We touched on this a little earlier in the stream, and I forgive you because you might not have been here. The IRS has issued guidance saying, please do not amend. Do not amend. It sends your tax return to manual review. It slows everything down. They just said wait. And if you haven't filed your 2020 taxes yet, they recommend that you also wait, because there's going to be a new worksheet that you can use to properly file and claim that that reduction in income. This is black coffee. Thanks for asking. When should all the deposits be completed by? Until? No, I mean, I would not contact your CPA to ask you when your stimulus check is coming. I would expect that direct deposits should be done within the next 3 weeks. But sometimes they linger a little bit. Rent relief is still a thing. You just have to apply locally. It's not something that's nationally orchestrated. It's kind of a disaster because of that. You could check your Bureau or Department of Real Estate for updates, your local housing and urban development departments. Well, that's redundant. But actually, no, it's not. HUD department. HUD? Department. Oh, it's Department of Housing and Urban Development. Okay, I guess it makes sense. But anyway, Google those things, you could look at your county's website. There are usually a lot of ways. And you can even call your county. Go, hey, call the operator. Go, yo, where's the county's rent relief program, right? I'm sure they're dealing with a lot of those questions. Would babies born before the bill was put into law, Feb 2021, receive $1,400 on their 2021 tax return? Well, first of all, congratulations. And the answer is yes. When you file your tax return next year, you'll be able to claim them by adding their social security number. I have a friend who is a non-filer, recently moved from another state, hasn't gotten any of the stimulus checks. After she figures out an ADDI change, can she do a non-filer? Yes, but if you haven't gotten any of the stimulus checks yet, I would encourage them to Google IRS recovery rebate and fill out the IRS 1040 to claim your 2020 recovery rebates, aka the stimulus checks, which would be your $1,200 and the $600. All right, let's see here. Just making its customers wait till the 17th. It's not uncommon for the big banks to do that. Did my 2019 tax return, but haven't received my second and third yet. Yeah, so I would recommend you file your 2020, and then you'll be able to claim that second. And you could use the IRS Get My Payment portal, which we've got more feedback here that it is working to get your latest check. Let's see here. How does it feel to have my hair back? I don't, it's too long. My regular unemployment is ending this month. Does anyone know if it will be difficult for me to get on pandemic employment after? It should be actually easy. I mean, the last time it was easy how they extended it. So I have my fingers crossed that it is as well. And let me see here if I can get you a little bit more of a resource on this. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Let me see. Give me a second here. Oh, we got to reach out to her. She hasn't posted in a bit. Like maybe folks leave her some comments. She's really good. She's got some great videos here on unemployment. She's an unemployment lawyer. It looks like she hasn't posted in about a month. So leave her some comments and some love, or find her on social media. But she's really good with unemployment, and can really help you out there. So, right. Did you check the portal? Let's see. Yeah, I've chased two. Okay, you all are talking to each other. Do you have to file your 2020 taxes to get this last stimulus? 2019 is okay. Yes. How do I become a member? So it doesn't show up. The join button doesn't show up on Apple products like the iPhone or iPad. You have to go on like a MacBook or some kind of computer, some kind of web browser, and then join shows up next to subscribe. So let's see. My Fed return should be here. Okay, good. 2019 is okay if you meet the requirements. Correct. Yep. Clarification. You got to meet the requirements. Get me taxes done. No place. Did it on Friday. Was told to wait to process. Got this email. Okay. Would you consider making it possible to receive some sort of certificate to complete your courses? My husband can use courses like this for CEU credits if there was a way to prove hours spent. I've never continuing. I don't know, because I think the courses have to be continuing education certified. So I don't know. I mean, if that does apply, yeah, totally. I can click a button and turn on certificates. But I don't know. I'd have to look into that one. Thank you for asking, though. Sure, we could figure something like that out. Let's see. The first one. Okay, you're adding clarity. You spent $10 to add clarity that you get the excluded $10,200 from income if your adjusted gross income is less than $150,000. Well, thank you for that. I am confused if I get the check or my parents get one for me as an adult dependent. That would be whoever claimed you. Whoever claimed you gets the check. Oh, well, I appreciate you, Randall. Thank you for that. To me, it makes I'm a truck driver, and I made $100,000 in 2020, and $30,000 of it I can't, and the government can't tax the third. I'm getting a check. I'm not sure exactly what you're saying there, but it sounds like you're getting the check on the 17th, and I'm happy for you. Let's see. Just waiting for the sticks tomorrow with the face palm. Oh my gosh. Some folks with Chime and other services got their stimulus checks already. Are these services essentially advancing them while it's pending? That is very possible. That is very, very possible that some of the newer services are advancing. It's a perfect marketing tool. I mean, think about it. When people go around and go, well, oh, I already got mine and I use Chime, it gets people interested in that product, right? It's a brilliant free marketing tool. So it's very, very smart. Okay, good. Those are the updates for now. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate all of you. Go check out that course link down below, or any of the courses. They're all 38% off through tomorrow. So check those out. Would love to see you in the private live streams, the private chats we have, lifetime access to the lectures there, and updated content. And folks, we'll see you in the next one. And yes, I teach fundamental analysis there too. All right.